From Relay, this is Connected, episode 540. Today's show is brought to you by Squarespace, Google Gemini, and Incogni. I am the keynote chairman, Mike Hurley, and I have the pleasure of introducing my chairman-in-arms, the annual chairman, Federico Viticci.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm great. I'm feeling good. How are you?
Yes, I am feeling fantastic, although a little bit sad for reasons
Oh,
we'll
no.
talk about later. Well, it's your fault. Look, it's
Okay.
not mine. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
His child's fault.
Hey, wait for your turn.
Yeah,
Okay.
why are you bursting
Who
in
are
with your
you?
jokes?
There's an imposter on the call.
I was
We're
premature.
also-
Again,
We're also joined by Mr. Stephen Hackett. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Chairman.
There you are. There you are.
My first appearance on the episode.
Yes.
I note that you don't have any kind of special title to your name.
Well, so we can talk about that
For
in a minute.
now.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay.
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 So, yeah. We have some follow-up, though.
Okay.
The most exciting follow-up is that it worked. It worked. My ordeal of my iCloud space not being able to add 2 terabytes and being forced by Apple to go to 6 terabytes, which set off the whole thing with Legacy Steven and iCloud family sharing. It all worked because 2 days ago, February 17th, was 1 month since it started. And for 1 month, I've had 8 terabytes of storage space on my iCloud account. On the 17th, I got an email saying you've been billed $9.99 for iCloud Plus storage space. I opened my device, and there it is, 4 terabytes of space on my plan. As I desired, it all worked.
What an incredible chain of events.
I know.
You know, you needed extra space. Now we have potentially is the reason we now have purchase migration requirements, and you got what you needed. You got your 4 terabytes. So you're now using 1.8 of 4 terabytes. So
Yes.
it's a few years' time, we'll be back here again.
Well, yeah. I mean, eventually, now it's a race. Is my daughter out on her own before we hit 4 terabytes?
Maybe that's the reason. You know what I mean?
Well,
It's
so
like it's too
if-
far, and you're on your own, kid.
Well, so if I go and like look at family usage, like her photo library is growing. We'll just say that she got a lot of photos in there.
You do have the problem. You have multiple children, right? And that right. So Jude, I assume Jude doesn't have a phone. Maybe Jude's going to get a phone at just that time. So they'll overlap a little bit. Maybe it'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
We'll see.
It might,
The Discord wants to know if I will cut her out of the iCloud family when she turns 18. No, but at some point she'll be on her own.
She gets a job. It's like, kid, pay for your own iCloud.
Kid,
you know?
99 cents. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
This again spawned off the great update to the Apple account system where you can migrate your purchases between accounts.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke about this some last week. Apple, in the meantime, has updated the requirements they've updated the support document to reflect the requirements to migrate your purchases.
I'm going to take the additional step at guessing that they didn't know about some of these requirements until they launched it. And then it's like, no, we just didn't tell you about all the requirements that we definitely knew about before
Maybe so.
we put it out there.
Maybe so. It's a real fun time in Apple support land, I'm sure. We have proof that this is thanks to me via our feedback form.
So we said if you could prove
Yes.
that you were the one, as which we all believe, that if it can be proven that you were the one that spurned the purchase migration, we would call you king of the K-base.
Yeah.
But we told you we needed actual proof
Right.
from a
Evidence.
verifiable source.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have it?
In our feedback form, someone with the email address of tim@apple.com said, "Hello, fine sirs. It was because of Steven."
Okay,
It's also signed Team Apple. So
Yeah. Not great.
He's in
Not
on the
great.
joke.
Not great. I
Sure.
feel like he would at least say good morning. you
Good
know?
morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry
do
you
you-
do not this isn't enough.
Do you have anything else?
Not that I can share.
Okay.
Well, then
There-
that's how it works.
Then
There was a message from a birdie, but
Doesn't count.
that's as specific as I can be.
Doesn't count. I feel like Ricky's rules.
Yeah.
Ricky's
Someone
rules
did leave
apply.
feedback in the forum, sort of angry feedback that there was no way it was because of me. They've been working on this for years, and I just deleted it because that's not the vibe I'm looking for.
wow, that's
Yeah.
angry.
Is
It's
that
also a
censorship?
lie.
Censorship.
It's also a lie. It's like that thing where it's like, when someone says like Apple delayed a thing and like you can't delay something that was never announced, and it's like, yeah, but we all know
Sure.
what it means though, don't we?
That
Like,
is the
realistically.
voice. That is actually the voice that those people have.
Hey,
Yeah. Oh, no, you can't do it.
this has nothing to do with you.
It's
They're
not
very
delayed
small.
if it's never announced. Yes.
They're very
that's how-
small person, very tiny. They live in a little mouse hole in the wall. You know what I've just realized?
Yeah.
I can say whatever I want on this episode.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Oh,
I'm free, right? I could just say anything, and because I'm not
God.
going to get any feedback, I won't see it. I can,
We-
I can do whatever I want.
We could
Can you-
also
can you
split the
can-
next 8 weeks of ads 2 ways instead of 3 ways. Like, I feel like those
Can
two
you
do
things
that?
could be tied together.
Okay,
Can you
I'll say whatever
clarify-
I want on this episode. You can have all the money. How's that? Do you like that deal now? Do you like that deal?
Jim, where are you?
Hold on. Can you clarify something for me, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Are during this time period, which you continue to claim it's going to be 8 weeks, I continue not to believe it. But
Yep,
regardless of the time period, are we forbidden from texting you?
No, you can text me.
Okay.
We're going to talk all the time.
Okay, so it's not like you're actually like proper disappear. You're just not
I'll
gonna
be
be on.
gone from work.
Okay,
But like, I'm
But
not
you-
going to read the feedback form, right? So like,
right.
people,
But
I
you
can just,
continue
like,
to exist as a person in our lives.
hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't know. Stephen, will I? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I mean, I survived the sabbatical.
Right. Right.
Okay. Was
Right.
that particularly taxing on you?
No, it was great. I
No, okay.
already want to do it again.
Okay.
Okay. Well, you're just gonna leave me alone on the show, just doing monologues.
You know,
Okay.
there is 1 week in April that it is going to be just you and hopefully a guest. We'll talk about that later.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting. This is good news for Federico to find out.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe we'll record it ahead of time. There's a
That
Wednesday I
might be the
can't
better.
do.
That might be the better thing to do.
We'll
But we
figure
don't-
it out.
We actually don't need to have this conversation now. Especially me. I don't want to know
Yeah.
any of this.
Okay.
Okay.
We spoke about WhatsApp and how that's not on the iPad. Lots of people wrote in to say there's a test flight of WhatsApp floating around that has a full iPad version. I found a
Yeah.
link to it on Reddit, but the test flight is full.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I remember looking for this like last year, and it was the same situation. You can never sign up for this beta. So I mean, I would love to test it. Give me access to it. Otherwise, it's just a test flight link that does nothing. So
Does this actually indicate that they're going to do it? Like, imagine, and now I'm gonna elevate something that's in later on in the show notes because I don't know how much we will talk about it anyway. Actually, it's not even in the notes anymore, so I'll just reference it. There was like that Netflix thing, right? The Netflix
Mhm.
Apple TV thing, which is like something that they have definitely built all the plumbing for. Like it works, but they don't have it. And I wonder if this is a similar thing. It's like, oh, we have a WhatsApp iPad app, but we're just never going to release it. We're just not going to do that.
I don't know. It's just I guess I don't understand why you want to do it. Like, because for Netflix I sort of understand, but like this is a full-on app that's been in testing for years. There must be thousands of people using it.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. Like what's the leverage here? That you're like not even Apple cares about the iPad. And I feel like if this is a strategy, like, look, it's not gonna work. This is not gonna work. If you hold WhatsApp for iPad hostage for whatever reason you think works, it doesn't. Like this is
doesn't
not
work.
working.
Not going
It
to work.
doesn't. Yeah, it's not gonna work. So cool.
Listener Ben sent in a link to a video from the Beats by Dre YouTube account about Power Beats Pro 2 that says in that video they are the best-selling fitness headphone of all time. So this clears up. So
Okay.
clearly either MKBHD misheard or the person misspoke to say it's the best-selling headphone of all time. It is the best-selling fitness headphone of all time, which makes significantly more sense and is
Yes.
infinitely more believable as a thing.
Yeah. I heard that in the MKBHD video. I was like, I think you just got that wrong, dude. Like, there's no way that's true.
Yeah. Or, I mean, but maybe they said it to him and said it incorrectly. But like, and I think that was why he shared it, because to him it didn't seem like a believable statistic, so he wanted to share it. But there you go. That explains it. And that does make a lot more sense, doesn't it?
Maybe they were speeding through the press call.
Oh, Stephen. Oh, Stephen.
Too late? Too late for that joke?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just a bad joke. It's not a problem of timing. It's just bad.
Yeah, if you would have said it like 3 days after it happened, it maybe still wasn't a good enough.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that joke crashed and burned.
See, but
mm-hmm.
Can't just carry on, please.
Next week we're going to have an interview with my wife about her Powerbeats Pro.
Amazing.
2. Yep. She's been taking notes.
It's like the biannual review or whatever.
When
Mary comes.
Yeah, it's also a biannual check-in on your relationship. So I get to ask her questions about you.
Well,
every couple of years.
So she can't be here when we've recorded the show, but maybe we could do it with time when you could do it. Maybe this weekend.
Yeah, because otherwise it's biased. You want to have me on the interview.
So we got to figure that out.
I really hope you can figure that out.
Okay, we'll talk at the end of the show.
Federico and your wife, then you and your wife.
We need to schedule an interview with Mary. Okay, so we'll do that after the call. We'll figure that out.
And here is an all-timer piece of feedback from Jack.
Yes.
Jack writes in and says, back in 2020 or 2021, you talked about Stephen wearing Lycra. I think it was for a bike ride. Mike made a joke about it. I don't remember this. but
it sounds plausible enough.
All of this sounds believable, but I don't remember this happening, which is even better. So Jack continues. I was living with my dad in lockdown, listening to that episode while emptying my bedroom bin. Every Sunday after that, I take the bin out, think of Stephen in Lycra, and laugh. It weirdly became my only way of marking time. Another week gone, and there he was in my head. Now, years later, in my own house, the habit remains. Every time I take the bins out, the image returns.
Yes.
Just incredible stuff. I love this so much. We all have these things, right? Like something just sticks in your mind. Stephen in Lycra is helping Jack.
How's the Lycra going, Stephen?
It's good. Wearing it right now. That's not true.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
Speed podcasting.
Yeah.
He's speeding.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and to succeed online. So whether you're just starting out or you're managing a growing brand, you can stand out with a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything. Products, services, and even content you're creating. Squarespace has everything you need, all in one place, all on your terms. I've been building sites on Squarespace basically forever, and I love that all the tools are integrated and work well together. That means that just because you didn't launch your site with something like a blog or maybe those cool video libraries, doesn't mean you can't add it really easily down the road. A Squarespace site can grow and adapt with your business over time. But what if you're not a designer? Well, you can make the most of design intelligence. It combines 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology to unlock your strongest creative potential. Design intelligence empowers anyone to build a beautiful, more personalized website tailored to their unique needs and craft a bespoke digital identity to use across one's entire online presence. And you want to get people to your site, and that's why Squarespace websites are all optimized to be indexed with meta descriptions, an auto-generated sitemap, and more, so you show up more often to more people in global search engine results. And keep track of your stats with analytics. They measure end-to-end online performance with powerful website and seller analytics. Get insights on top traffic sources, understand how your reach is growing, track sales, and learn where to focus new engagement. Squarespace Analytics is all the data you need to scale your brand or business, and it's fully integrated and clearly displayed. So if it's time to build a website, head on over to squarespace.com and sign up for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/connected to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain name. That's squarespace.com/connected for 10% off your first purchase and to show your support for the show. Our thanks to Squarespace for their support of Connected and all of Relay.
So as we record today, Apple released a new iPhone. There was a hashtag Apple launch, as Tim put it, which is just terrible. I hate it. But there was a little video that went up about the iPhone 16e. The video is fine. Like it feels like a chunk of what could be a presentation, kind of like what they did last year with John Turnus when the roundup of videos, like those 3 videos they did for the Mac line. The video was presented by Tim at the beginning and said that the iPhone 16e. Oh, I just realized it's hard to say.
16.
iPhone 16e. 16e. It's the 16e.
It's the 16e.
It's 16e.
Give me the
16e.
Hey, give me the 16e.
Yeah, give me the 16. Yeah.
We're the perfect show for this. It turns out no one else is going to do that.
Mama, can you pass me the 16?
It's so expensive. And Kyan Grant said that just a couple of notes from the video that I thought were interesting, and we'll talk about the phone itself. It has an A18 chip in it, and Kyan said that the A18 will help the iPhone 16e feel fast for years to come, and you'll feel a huge boost in speed when upgrading from an older phone. I found this framing interesting because it kind of, I think, speaks to who Apple do believe the customer is, right? Someone who keeps hold of a phone for a long time, right? That like a selling point of this phone is if you buy it now, it'll feel good for years. And also if you should upgrade to this if you've been holding onto a phone for a long time. And it also features the C1 modem chip, Apple's first in-house modem chip in an iPhone, which is the, quote, most power-efficient modem ever in an iPhone. To break into some more specs of this thing, it's a new design, kind of similar-ish to the iPhone 14, 15, 16. It's a bit of a kind of a mishmash of those devices. It comes in white or black. Has a 6.1-inch OLED display with a notch. Has an action button, USB-C, the A18 chip with Apple Intelligence, a single 48-megapixel fusion camera. That means it does the 2x zoom, so like where it crops in and does the I think it's the central 12 megapixels of the sensor to give you like a 2x zoom. It has Apple's first ever cellular modem, and apparently the remarkable power efficiency of Apple Silicon, including the first Apple-designed modem, the C1, means that it gets 26 hours of battery life.
Yeah. I looked up the hour video playback battery stat. Just rearrange those words, Jim. iPhone 16 is 22 hours. The iPhone 16 Plus is 27. So it's closer to the Plus despite being the size of the 16. iPhone 16 Pro Max is 33. So got a ways to catch up with that, but definitely an improvement for a phone in this size class.
I have a question that I don't know if we know the answer to or if we will know the answer to for a while. I know that there is new battery technology that is floating around now in phones. Do we know if there's any of that going on here too? That they have like a new kind of battery in this phone? Or is it, for as much as we can tell right now, purely because of the C1 chip that is getting this better battery life?
If it's a battery chemistry thing, they haven't disclosed it at this point.
Okay.
They did say it's bigger and that they kind of rearranged the guts of the phone to make that possible.
Right. Yeah, well, that comes with its own set of things we'll talk about in a minute. The prices. So it starts at 128 gigabytes at $599, and then it goes at 256 for $699, 512 for $899. Pre-order this Friday, shipping February 28th. Stephen, do you want to talk about, you put this beautiful chart together in our show notes, comparing the 16 to the 16e?
Yeah, so
16e.
16e. That is so good.
Yeah.
They both come with the A18 with 6 CPU cores. The 16 has 5 GPU cores, and the 16e has 4 GPU cores.
That's it. I'm getting the 16. It's that one GPU core.
Okay.
It's for all the what
Games
what-
is to
what
play
do-
Infinity Nikki. It's to play
It's
Infinity
for all
Nikki.
the Infinity Nikki that I'm gonna do on my iPhone 16.
That's the new one, by the way. Did you see it in the press release? Infinity Nikki is the
it's
new
the
friend.
new Death
It's the new
Stranding.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. New. Okay.
Friendship ended with Assassin's Creed or whatever the
Yeah.
previous one was.
Assassin's Creed is probably a good call for
Yeah.
Infinity Nikki.
Dynamic Island on the 16 versus the Notch on the 16E. It also has an older version of the ceramic shield, which is that, protective layer on the glass. Screen brightness is down a bit. 1,000 typical nits max brightness or 1600 HDR versus 800 and 1200. Apple does not list the peak outdoor brightness for this screen, so assumedly it's just it doesn't have like the deal where it can like
Doesn't
supercharge
have
it.
Yeah.
And it cannot go down to 1 nit minimum brightness like the 16 can. I'm going to come back to the cameras because I think that's interesting for other reasons. Camera control, the iPhone 16 has it. The iPhone 16e does not. And if you want to use visual intelligence for some reason, you go through the action button.
They also have a control center action. I know. I did see somebody that you can access it via control center. I don't know if that will come to all phones, but it will it will be on the 16e.
Okay. And then the iPhone 16 has MagSafe up to 25 watts with a 30-watt adapter. The 16e has Qi wireless charging up to 7.5 watts and no MagSafe. So it does not
What?
have the ring of magnets.
This is the thing, right? Like this, for me, I know like lots of people got their own things about, everyone's got their own problems about every product ever, right?
Yeah.
But I think the three of us can probably all agree, no MagSafe is just a chaotic decision.
Yeah. This is the I'm trying to think of an equivalent like that weird Apple Pencil with USB-C, or like it's one of those weird one-offs that you just look at Apple's lineup and you think, what happened here?
Yeah.
for MagSafe to be gone from this phone. Like
Yeah.
John OTJ has a really good conspiracy theory on the
Yep.
Dawn, which is John is speculating that maybe Apple's modem, the new C1, is bigger and maybe they couldn't fit the MagSafe circuitry or whatever. I don't know if that's the case, but it's a good conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That would, if that is it, that is a bad, right? Like that is like a bad thing. That's a bad thing. If the chip is that big, that it's, you know what I mean? Like I can see where John is coming from, because there has to be a reason that is a weird reason, because why would you not do this? Like, I mean, we'll talk about this compared to the SE, right? Because I think that's what everyone was expecting. But really, this is an iPhone 16 in the 16 line. They've given it that name for a reason. I think the lack of MagSafe, not even just the fact that the wireless charging is so bad, right? 7.5 watts, that is so slow for a phone that has a 26-hour battery life in it. Like, you would be charging this, I think it would probably use more power than the charge would give it. And I don't understand this. Like, MagSafe on an iPhone, it feels as table stakes as the biometric kind of stuff now. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like you have this whole ecosystem of products and accessories that you sell.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I think, immediately devalues the product in the lineup. And something I thought that they would do is maybe they put it in the cases, and that's not working either. So I think it does lend credence to John's thought that, like, maybe the cables are in a different place. Like, maybe they're not in the same place. Like, I think that will be interesting to see. Like, something weird has happened here.
Yeah. We'll know more in a couple of weeks when this thing's in the world and people take it apart.
Yeah.
But so Apple's official case does not have MagSafe. There are lots of third-party solutions. Like, you can buy like a MagSafe thing to put in your Pixel case. Like, there will be workarounds, but definitely strange. Also, on the modem thing, real quickly, I'm just going to read something from Apple. Apple and Intel have signed an agreement for Apple to acquire the majority of Intel's smartphone modem business. approximately 2,200 Intel employees will join Apple, along with intellectual property, equipment, and leases. The transaction, valued at $1 billion, so that's like 9.5 Humane IA pens, is expected to close in the fourth quarter of 2019. So this has been 5 years, 5.5 years since that deal. Wait, no, 4.5 years. It's been some amount of time. It's been years since Apple has been on this journey, and it's finally here. And like, I'm very interested to see how it performs in the world and if it is actually bigger, like OTJ speculates. But the C1 is maybe the most interesting thing about this phone to me, that Apple, after so long and God knows how much money, has shipped their own modem.
Yeah, this is the only interesting detail, in my opinion, for a phone that is too expensive for what it does and does not, from just my opinion. But the modem is a fascinating story that I think will be, if this works and doesn't drop a connection, actually, if it actually works, and I think if it's in a finished product, Apple must think that this is a good modem.
Yeah.
I think this will be the story to keep an eye on this year for any future products. It's fascinating, finally.
See, I say how good, though. Why wasn't it in the 16?
That's why, yeah.
I think there's your question.
Yeah.
I don't think that would necessarily be, maybe it could be about quality, but my thought there is that it could be about quantity, that the 16E is not going to sell like its 4 other siblings, and let alone combined. And so maybe you start it with what could be a lower product or lower volume product.
Yeah. Yeah, Jason and I we have a long running draft on this that we'll settle when I come back from paternity. And one of the picks that he went for, which I think is a very good one, is there will be some kind of controversy about the C1. What is now called the C1.
Yeah.
Like something. So there's going to be something. Because I just, this has taken them so long to do. Like, it has been years now where there has been, like, Apple's getting ready to debut its modem, Apple's getting ready to debut its modem, and they haven't done it. And they have, like, poured not just the money into buying this, but also Apple have lost more money with, I think it's either Qualcomm or Broadcom or both. I don't remember who provides, like, the modem technology. They've had to renegotiate deals where they have lost more and more money because the prices have been going up. Like, they've been trying to get this thing out there, and it's taken them a long time. And I'm just very keen to see how this actually operates at scale in use. That is going to be, it's an interesting story, I think, to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe if the issue is MagSafe, maybe there's going to be some kind of magnet-related controversy. Like, if you get this phone next to a magnet, the connection drops.
But see, if that is the scenario, then surely this is not, like, I know we're like half joking here, maybe, but that would be a significant enough reason not to release it, right?
I think so too. Do you remember back in the day, like, your computer speaker was making noise before your phone rang? Like, what if they brought that back? You know?
Oh, the GSM thing?
Yeah. Like, I'm getting a phone call in 4 seconds.
Wow, kids, these Zoomers, they don't know about this stuff.
Yeah, Jim, put in that sound effect, Jim.
Do you think is that just a sound effect Jim just has a hand?
I'll find one for him.
Also, I did it. Like, well, how do we need any more,
Cell phone speaker sound. Okay, camera. This is also interesting to me. It is compared to so the 16 has the main camera and the ultra wide. This 16E does not have the ultra wide. So there's no macro mode, no spatial photos, obviously, because you just have one lens. It has the older photographic styles, not the fancy new ones.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand. Maybe it's some pipeline thing. Maybe my only thought is, like, maybe that's just not very performant on the cut down GPU. I don't know. And Apple's doing the optical, 1x, 2x zoom thing because it's a 48 megapixel.
The 16 has a megapixel.
Yeah.
Also think I said IA pin earlier.
You did. Yeah, you did say IA pin.
This is quite the megapixel we're in today.
What a mega pickle we found ourselves in. This is the photographic styles thing is the weirdest part to me about this camera.
Maybe
Like,
so. Yeah.
I'd miss that part. Like the single camera makes sense to me. Like, you know, it's like it's not going to have everything that the 16 does. Otherwise, why does it exist? And I think the fact that it has the 48 megapixel camera in it is actually pretty decent. Like if you're going to have a cut down solution, I think a 48 megapixel single lens is better than a like 24 and an ultra wide. I think they've gone for the best of a compromised solution here. Like if that's what I think anyway.
Maybe so. I just listened to the computer sound effect thing on YouTube. It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't want to put that in a podcast.
Yeah, I feel like my
But
rendition was enough.
we lived through it.
That's true. That is true.
You know?
We lived it.
Maybe it's
We
just
lived
the PTSD that you have for that sound effect.
it. GSM sound. That's what you're looking
GSM.
for.
So the reason this is interesting is that the iPhone Slim or Air or whatever is rumored to have one camera. And I would imagine it would be this setup, maybe with like the photographic style thing fixed.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're like kind of preparing the way for that a little bit. I don't know. I mean,
I
the old
don't
SE also had
understand
one
why.
camera. It also makes it way cheaper. Like I get all that, but
This would be the question I would ask if I could ask a question of someone at Apple would be why? What is the reason for the photographic styles? Is it genuinely a one core difference of GPU? That doesn't make any sense to me.
if someone knows for realsies and you're not Tim Apple, let us know.
You don't have to go on the record for that, though.
Yeah.
We will just say it, and we won't say your name. But I would love to know the reason for that.
Well, you'll find out in 8 weeks.
Maybe. No, I'm going to listen to the show.
Oh,
When I'm gone, I am going to listen. I'm going to be tuning in every week, like a real passionate one. I'm going to be a passionate one. Somebody wrote in on the Pen Addict today, and this is great, and I probably will do it. They said, "Will I use the feedback form?" And I think I might. So, if I have things to say, I'm going to be blowing up that feedback form. You better watch out.
That
You
feels like
said you-
work. You don't
said
need to do that.
you were gonna text us. Why do you need to use the feedback form?
I mean, all right, I'll text you all my thoughts about the episodes then. I mean, I was just going to text you as like a friend. Like I wasn't going to give you like show feedback, but if I have show feedback, I'll write in, like a real listener. I don't want to abuse my position as a host, right? But when I'm not on the show and just like text you all my feedback, I'll send it in like a good listener.
Federico, we just opened Notion and there's like red letters, like, like in a horror movie, it's like etched on the glass over the sink.
Yeah.
I know what you did last week.
Yeah, just etched into the Notion document.
So here's a bigger picture thing here. This is not an iPhone SE, is it? Like, it
No.
isn't. Like we thought this was a replacement for the iPhone SE. It isn't, and they also don't sell it anymore.
Yeah, it's
Which
a
is
lot.
the
It's a lot
weirdest
more
part.
expensive.
Yeah.
It's a lot bigger. Rest in peace, small phones.
How much more expensive?
So the SE 3 started at $429 for the 64 gig, but they don't make that anymore. So if you compare 128 to 128, it was $479, and now it's $599.
So it's $120 more, which is quite
Comparable
a
sizing,
jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a jump for this product.
Yeah, it
I
is.
would see, for me, I think Federico disagrees, but I think this package at $599 is pretty decent. It's not perfect. I think this is a decent $600 iPhone in the world that we're in today.
Well, let me tell you about our good friend, the euro currency.
Yeah.
This phone starts at 729 euros.
Yeah, you guys are paying with. I couldn't believe this, but in the UK it's £599. So it's similar. I'm going to the Italian Apple Store right now, which is fine. So dove ameri acquistare I prodotti Xiaomi. So I've got that. That's what that's
pretty
telling
good.
me. I'm trying to find the compare. Like, I want to see what the prices are. Like, how much does an iPhone 16 cost? It starts at $979. Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
That's some.
Yeah.
That's in
Yeah.
the words of Tim Cook, economic headwinds.
That is a
Well-
spicy meatball, right?
Well,
there.
now you
Blimey.
see why most people in Italy buy Android phones, because like
Yeah.
the prices of iPhones are crazy here.
That is very expensive.
Don't
That
look
is
at a
a-
Pro Max unless you want to get a heart attack or something.
$1,239 for that's the Pro. Oh my god! The iPhone 16 Pro Max starts at €1,489.
Yeah,
That's a
Ooh.
lot of money, man.
Yeah,
That's a lot
Yeah.
of money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the end of the SE. If you dial back the clock, the SE started life as we're going to have a 4-inch phone. It was the 5S form factor after the 6 had come out, like 6 months after the 6 had come out. Or maybe it was maybe we were even into the 6S cycle. I forget. But we were moving into bigger phones. Hey, some people want a smaller phone. The SE is going to be the smaller phone. And the later two revisions kind of followed that, but basically it was an old phone with kind of like a mix of parts. People refer to that as like a parts bin device. And this one is just really different from that. This is an iPhone 16 that's cut down to hit a price point. In a way, that's not the same strategy. And with Apple, in the video, I think you referenced it earlier, Mike, it's like we're completing the iPhone 16 line. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean there's
Yeah.
going to be a 17E in a year? Like, it's kind of confusing at this point.
It has only made more long-term questions than short-term answers.
Yeah.
This product is weird. It's weird in a way that I'm happy about, because if it was boring, we wouldn't have so much to talk about with it. But like that, just the name alone asks a bunch of questions, because if they don't come out with a 17E, then I don't understand why you would call this the 16E,
Yeah.
because it doesn't even look like an iPhone 16. Right?
No, it looks like whatever the last one with the notch was.
Yeah. So like what, like a 14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does mark the end of several things of the iPhone line, though. It marks the end of the home button and Touch ID.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah.
At least on new phones, it marks the end of the mute rocker switch, because this thing has the action button.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of this, but Mac Rumors pointed it out. It's also the end of, or at least currently, there's no product red products in Apple's lineup. The iPhone 14, which is also discontinued today, and the SE3 were the last one. So like, it is a sort of like the closing of a lot of chapters in the iPhone line. Rest in
Do you
peace.
think that was a Johnny Ive thing?
The product red,
Yeah.
I think he took the mantle after Jobs. And he did like the product red Mac Pro, the trash can Mac Pro. Do you remember that?
He continued working with them on a bunch of stuff. Like
Yeah.
he's even, I think post Apple has done other things. Like, he's done like a red Lycra. He did a red Lamy pen. So maybe that was a Steve Johnny thing. And maybe that's why they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like maybe that was a relationship that was important to them. Maybe they like Bono. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's here, and I'm very curious how popular it will be. I think the price jump, it still makes older phones look pretty good in terms of pricing.
Yeah.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Google Gemini. I tried Gemini a couple of days ago, the Gemini Live where you can talk to it, and it's really wild to have a full-on conversation with this thing. I asked it to give me ideas for hosting during the holidays, and when it starts giving you results, you can just stop it and say, okay, well, what about something low-key for a smaller group? And then it adjusts to that, and you can just keep going until you get an idea that you want. And that's what I think I would use it for most, brainstorming things. It's so good if you don't know where to start or you hit a wall with something. Just go to Gemini, and it can help you get the ball rolling. You can use it for all kinds of stuff. If you want to learn something new, or get some advice, ask it to explain Bitcoin in simple terms, or you can have it quiz you on something like microbiology. I mean, imagine being a student and you've got this personal tutor on hand. It's hard to explain. You really have to go play with it, see how it listens to you, responds, and adapts to your style of conversation. Try it out. It's free. Our thanks to Google Gemini for their support of this show and all of Relay.
Of course.
Come on.
Oh God.
You think you're going to get away with it? Welcome back to the Quizzies, the quiz show within a podcast, where I, Mike Hurley, quiz my connected co-hosts randomly and by surprise on a variety of varying subjects. Welcome to the 2025 Quizzies. You're both at 0 points.
Oh, it's a new year.
It's a new year. You will remember that Federico took the crown in 2024 with a score of
Yes. 680
to 600. I will remind you the 2023 score was Stephen at 2,020 points and Federico at 2,000 points. And the 2022 score was Federico at 8,801 points, Stephen at 10,673 points. So we've reined that in a little bit. We're playing a new game today called a series of questions.
Oh, was that a Siri
God.
joke?
Nope. A series of questions.
Is it about the SE?
It's about the SE line.
It's about the Mac SE. I'm really good at that.
I am gonna be destroyed. Okay.
We'll find out.
I
We'll
am in
find out.
danger. Okay.
Help, I'm in danger. Federica, I have 6 questions for you both. It's 25 points per correct answer. Federico, as rating champion, you get to choose whether you would like to answer first or second.
Second.
Okay. So question number 1, Stephen, you will answer first. Which iPhone was the visual design of the original iPhone SE model based on?
The iPhone 5S.
Federico?
The iPhone 5S.
Correct. Question number 2. Which processor powers the iPhone SE second generation, released in 2020?
Ooh. 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the A13.
Okay.
2020, you say?
I did.
So we are in 2025, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat.
So in 2024, what's the new chip? The A18? 2115, 2020, A14. But it's the SE, so I'm gonna copy Steven, the whatever Steven said. The 13? Is that what Steven said?
I can confirm that was what Stephen said, and that is correct. Technically A13 Bionic,
Okay.
but there wasn't an A13 chip. So,
Okay.
question number 3. Which of these colors was not available for the first generation iPhone SE? Rose gold, black, or silver?
Say those again.
Which of these colors was not available for the iPhone SE first generation, the original one? Rose gold, black, or silver?
Black.
Federico?
He thinks the SE was not available in black.
Mm-hmm.
What is the original SE even?
That's a
What
great
did- what-
question.
So it looked like an iPhone 5S.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Whatever. I'm gonna say that it was not available in rose gold.
That is incorrect. It was not available in black.
I should have copied Steven. I knew
Space
it.
gray.
Should have copied Steven. It was available in space gray,
Yes.
silver, gold, and rose gold.
Yes.
They were the original 4 color options available.
Here's how I remember that, Federico. The iPhone 5 had that cool black color, and then they went gray on the 5S. And so I didn't know, but that was my educated guess.
Why do I even try? Is the real question.
You
Okay.
won last year, so you know.
Yeah, they're not all
Okay.
history things. This may play to my strengths or it may not, but there'll be something that plays to yours.
We're only halfway through.
Well, and I'm already complaining. It's the first game of the year, and I already don't like
Yeah.
it.
Hey,
So
Mike.
Okay, that's
Mike,
fair.
did you get the
But
money
I
I
am-
sent you?
Yes,
Well,
I did. Thank
okay.
you.
Here's the thing. Even though I dislike it and I complain about it, I am going to win regardless. So
Wow, I love it. Okay, so question number 4. Which version of iOS did the original iPhone SE model ship with? Steven?
Oh. Let's see. It was iOS. I'm counting backwards. iOS 8? No. iOS 9. Final
yeah,
answer.
I don't think we've had-
iOS.
I don't think we've ever had a thing before where... okay, I'm going to take your second answer.
Thank you.
Federico?
I don't, are we allowed to know when the original iPhone SE came out?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you. It doesn't bother me to tell you. It came out in 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to know the month of
Sure,
2016?
March 2016.
Come on.
Well, then it was
You could
running
have
iOS.
asked.
It was running
I
iOS
knew.
9.
I
I
could
knew
have
the
taken
answer.
your first answer, Stephen.
It was running iOS 9.
Yeah, it sure
Yeah.
was. Bonus question.
When
What
did
was
it come
the
out?
point release? What was the point release of iOS 9
Oh,
on the original
gosh.
SE?
See, by March, Apple used to do. I feel like Apple used to do fewer.
Bonus question.
Bonus.
Bonus.
0.3.
Mm.
Federico?
Did you say March 2016?
I did. March 2016.
March 2016. Not a 0.3, I don't think. I'm
Yeah,
torn
I think I
between
overcooked my answer.
9.1 or 9.2. I'm going to say 9.2.
It was, in fact, iOS 9.3. So Stephen gets the points. Final question. What is the display size of both the iPhone SE second generation and third generation?
Ooh. Okay, so how big was the iPhone?
I don't even know how big my iPhone is right now.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
What's the size of the Pro Max? 6.7? Is that the size?
I think so.
100 inches.
It's pretty big. I'm gonna say I think the iPhone.
It's gotta be 4 point something.
Yeah, I think though that first batch of bigger phones. Was it the same as the first batch of bigger phones? I'm gonna say they didn't do a 4 point. Okay, 3.5. I'm like counting up iPhone sizes in my head. Then it gets really messy. 4.7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the number somewhere in my head. I'm gonna go with 4.7.
Yeah.
It is 4.7.
Okay.
That brings us to the end of the quiz. Federico scores 100 points. Stephen scores 150 points. This is a
Okay.
good start for Stephen as we
Ooh.
start the quizzes, but do not fear. The quizzes will return later on this year.
Was I
Yeah.
perfect?
Yes. You
Yeah.
got every question correct.
Oh
Mm.
man.
What a surprise! The history quiz he gets right.
Mm-hmm.
The person,
I
the person who literally has a museum in his home. Yeah.
Mhm. I would say, as quiz master of the quizzes, I try my best to make them not all history. Sometimes they're history.
Yeah.
That's the end of the quizzes. Thank you.
Hey, speaking of history,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
as alluded to earlier, HP has bought Humane. Jay Peters reported this at The Verge. The AI pen company is no more, sold to HP for $116 million. Some people and some IP are going to HP. We've already seen on social media some people are not going to HP. And the team is going to be working on something at HP. Probably something
Let me read this
super
quote.
cool
I'm gonna
and
read this quote
interesting.
to you.
Okay.
Humane's team, including founders Imran Chowdhury and Bethany Bongiorno, will form a new division at HP to help integrate artificial intelligence into the company's personal computers, printers, and connected conference rooms.
Oh.
The
It's
AI
rough, right?
printer.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. There's no way to put this. It's rough.
Hey, randomly, because it just popped into my brain, also the end of lightning phones, right? Or
Yep.
like new
Unrelated
new
to
lightning phones.
HP.
I was just thinking about old
but-
technology and it came back to mind.
Yeah, that is the end of the lightning. Yeah.
Printers.
Printers
Here's-
and connected conference rooms.
Here's the thing about printers. Printers should have no software. Like, the reason I
Yeah.
use that Brother that everyone likes is because it literally can't do anything. It just prints black and white pages.
I really don't know what
What?
you could
What?
what AI you could put into a printer. Like I genuinely don't know. Like
Yeah.
I really can't.
Make the text sharper with AI.
It's like,
But like, should that happen on the computer? Like, why is that happening at the printer point?
It's like,
you know.
Look, man, these people need a job, all right?
Hey,
you gotta let them do something.
Look, we're taking the generative AI slop and moving it from the application level to the printer level. So you just type in a prompt to your printer. It's like, hey, make me a form for my doctor's office. And then you don't even see it. It just comes out of the printer. It's saving you so much time.
You know what? Actually, there are things that I've done on printers in the past where I've messed things up. Like, you know, like you want to print something on two sides of a page of paper, but you put the wrong one in and you print over the thing.
Yeah, but
right?
LLMs can't get things right now. They're telling people to eat
I want
rocks.
the AI. That's what I want the printer AI to do. To be like, no, you did that wrong. Like, you know, or it flips the paper over for me or something. You know, like that's what I wanted to do. Or like I scan something and I scan it askew and like the AI straightens it. That's what I'm looking for out of my printer AI. From February the 28th, so in about 10 days or so, or 9 days to be exact, the AI pins that people own become effectively useless. Because they will not be able to access any online service. I'll read again from The Verge. After the shutdown, offline features like battery level will still work, Humane says. But, quote, any function that requires cloud connectivity like voice interactions, AI responses, and dot center access will not. So it can't do anything, just nothing.
That's not true. It can do battery level. You just said
That's
it.
true. Yeah, I did
Check
say
the
that.
battery.
It's fake news. I'm sorry.
Are we allowed to say that this was always a scam and e-waste in the first place?
I don't know. I do think
we're all thinking it.
E-waste for sure. I'll tell you what I'll say. I think we can all agree from the first time we saw this product, we knew it wasn't going to work. So in that sense, you could say it was scam-ish because you've got to assume that they also thought that this wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
But I also don't, actually, as I say that, I don't know if they believe that because they really seemed, I mean, this is why like a lot of people are taking a level of glee in this because of the way Humane
Pitched it.
positioned themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they kind of made this bed for themselves by saying all the things they said, presenting everything in such a grandiose way. And I kind of like imagine doing all of that. And like, I think that they genuinely believed that they were going to change the world, at least at some point, right? Like whether it was before the AI pin or not, like they were building something before the AI pin that then became the AI pin because they thought they were going to disrupt smartphones. Imagine doing all of that and having that belief in yourself and you end up putting AI into connected conference rooms. That's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is a rough situation that they've ended up in. And like, I think I saw something that they've had like $250 million of VC funding. So the HP money doesn't even make the investors whole.
No. Yeah, just money down the drain, basically.
Yeah. Which again, I think there was an element of obviousness to that. Clearly they were good pitch people, right? They were able to pitch people to get investment, but like, it's just a truly crazy thing to have happened, I think.
And there's a whole bunch of people without a job now because I think most people working at Humane were laid off.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of people who purchased a Humane AI pin, spent, around $700 or $800, depending on the version that you got, and then the monthly subscription, used it for less than a year, and they were informed with a 10-day notice that the pin would stop working.
Yeah.
So it's basically unsellable. You cannot do anything with this thing. Yeah, good deal. What a way to go out in style. If only this company had the same class and style that the CEO had in terms of fashion style, that would have been nice. But no, sadly, no, that's not the case.
There is this thing too where like, I agree that amount of notice is incredibly short. The other part of it though is like, maybe no one was using them. So maybe it's not that bad. Like, apparently, like according, I was looking it up. According to The Verge, as of August 2024, there are only 7,000 Humane AI pins in the hands of consumers.
Ooh.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
like, maybe of those 7,000 people, there like wasn't really anybody actually using it. It's like I'm like defending it, but just like while on the face of it, my initial reaction was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that you've given people such a short amount of time." Maybe they just knew it was fine because like no
you
one's
just think
using
nobody
it.
cares.
Just no one's using it. Like, think about that, right? 7,000 people bought this product, which I think, and there was at a point there were. Remember, it was a point where there were more units being returned than bought. So,
Yeah.
like, that was 7,000 people left who hadn't yet returned it.
Yeah.
Now, of those 7,000 people, you got to imagine, I would say at least half, although I would say probably more, at least half of those people bought it to make content about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that they are an influencer or a YouTuber or a technology journalist, like whatever. They bought it as like a little curiousness. But most of the people that, I would say probably half of the people that had one probably bought it because they wanted, but they weren't planning to like make it part of their life anyway. It was like a thing that they bought.
If these people were smart, here's what they should have done: sell any leftover inventory for like less than half the price, and release on GitHub a jailbreak tool and documentation to jailbreak your pin and install whatever software you want to install on it, so that the people who had it could jailbreak the pin. And I'm sure some kind of modding community would have spawned up, and you would have made a bunch of extra money on the side.
So here's the thing about that, because I had that thought too, and I thought about Pebble. Like, that's probably not up to them. It's probably up to HP, because HP now owns all of the patents and everything. And if they're going to use whatever they did as the basis of whatever they're going to do within HP, they're not going to do that. The same way when Pebble got absorbed, all the stuff went away, and now the original guy like has the rights back and is starting it over. So like that may be on the Humane people, but I think it's probably also on HP.
I saw some, I mean, there probably is patents and intellectual property over, but I saw some reporting somewhere that this deal did not include the hardware at all. Like, Humane did not buy any of the hardware. I think the bigger problem for why they can't do that is, do you remember that they had to do a product recall about the batteries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't completed.
Oh.
Humane said if they had not sent that battery recall to you, they would refund you the amount of the battery. So like they even if they wanted to do that and could do that, they still would have to deal with the fact that the batteries weren't good in these things and they could catch on fire.
Yeah.
What a mess. These people are never going to make a product again, right?
I can't imagine. I mean, I would say Silicon Valley disappoints me in many ways at times. But I have got to believe that nobody would have invested in them now.
Yeah.
Right? This is a pretty catastrophic failure for the hype that was around them, and the people that they had invested in them. And it's been like this multi-stage failure, right? Of like, just the announcement videos were a failure on their own, and then the product came out and it was bad, and then it just continued to fail. It got to this point. Like, you remember when the reporting came out about them wanting to sell this company, they were looking for somewhere between $700 million and $1 billion. Like, that's what they were looking for if they would want to sell. And it sold for $116 million. So that gives you an idea, I think, of how little interest there was in acquiring anything of this company, from the people to the teams to the technology that they've patented.
It's rough.
It's real bad. It's real bad.
And it is easy to make fun of, and, maybe part of it is deserved, but like, it sucks that people are going to lose their jobs, and it sucks that people have to go to HP and do things that they joined a cool startup to do something cool, and now they're making printer firmware. Like, there are downsides to it. And look, I even made fun of it because I thought of a very clever headline in my own opinion, but it is, anytime we have these stories, we've done this show long enough where we've covered lots of these things, like, there's a balance to be struck, because like, hardware startups are rare. And this shows, I think, again, like how hard that is. Now, their idea was bad and their product was flawed and it was too expensive. Like, all that's true. But I wouldn't want to be in a hardware startup, no matter how good I thought the idea was. Like, it just seems really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Really difficult. I did set up an eBay saved search for a Humane AI pen, though.
I think that makes sense.
If you've got one and, don't throw it away, don't recycle it, mail it to me. I'll put it in the museum.
And then, but put it in like a little fireproof box.
I'll put it in a glass tube. Like I'll get a tube made up for it and like float it. Like
what is that thing?
Like the original iPhone.
You remember the thing in the documentation for replacing an iPhone battery, and it was a something event? What was that? Do you remember?
Thermal event.
A thermal event. You got to be ready for thermal events.
Yeah.
I would say like I feel for some people. I think a lot of people who worked at Humane, they must have known, right? Like, I feel like there is an element of like, you surely should have seen what everybody else saw.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think, especially with the founders, I don't have any sympathy for them. Like, I don't. Like, they've probably ended up pretty okay out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, like I don't really have sympathy for. They've landed on their feet. Like they actually have probably pretty well-paying jobs, like out of this. But like I think a lot of the people that left other tech companies to go work for Humane, like you should have been able to just like look at what they did. I don't know.
I think the founders tried to do the whole reality distortion field.
They did, yeah. They were trying hard.
Yeah. I think there's something here of like some people learned the wrong lesson from Steve Jobs and from Apple. And I think that's at the heart of a lot of this. And I think another angle is like, you're trying to introduce a device for people not to use their phones. People really like using their phones and phones are really good, right? It's the same thing with the Rabbit R1. Like at least then you got a fun like orange thing to have on your desk. But there's just very little room for a device that's not a phone. Like even wearables, like even smartwatches, even smart glasses, right? Like they're kind of at the edge. And that's like a big thing to take on. But when you think you can change the world with your idea, no one can tell you no, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, I just, this is an interesting point from Aaron in Discord. It says, I wonder if they were hoping to find enough of an interest where they could iterate on feedback and continue to grow a new product market. And like, that would have been interesting, but that's not at all the way that they position themselves, right? Like, if they would position themselves like that, I would have a little more, and I think everybody would have more sympathy for this team and like this company and these products. But the problem was always what you said, Stephen, like that you can't bootstrap Apple. Like you can't just be like, we're going to go from zero to Apple. Like that's not a thing that you can do.
Yeah.
You can't do that because it's not what Apple did either, right? Like that's not how they became what they are. It's not how any big technology company became what they are. Like people kind of, I feel like had a little bit more earnestness to what they were doing than just to be like, we've changed the world, everyone. Like we've done this, and like look at our tables. They're big and they have objects perfectly aligned on them. It's just like stuff like that where it's like, oh, you've been in an Apple design lab, or you saw one in Wallpaper magazine, and you've done that. Like it's just it none of it. There wasn't they did subsequent videos that were better, which had more personality to them. And I think if they would have come at it from that regard rather than the original one, this story, I don't think it would have been significantly better, but people may have had more empathy for them at this stage, I think. Like, I don't know if you guys saw those videos, but I was watching all the videos where they were doing kind of like OS, talking through like their OS Cosmos.
Yeah.
And there were like little jokes in it. And like Imran was looking in a video and he's asking for a fit check. And then like someone was laughing in the back. It's just stuff. It had more of a actual real personality to it than the initial stuff that they did. And so I think it would have been different if they could have actually seen like human people rather than this like, we've delivered this product to you from heaven, you know?
I'm going to eat it.
You're going to eat it.
Remember that? He had the handful
Okay,
of
sorry.
almonds or whatever?
Yeah. I thought you meant if someone sent one to you.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You were going to eat it.
No, he asked he had like a handful of almonds and it gave
Yeah.
him vastly incorrect nutritional information. He's like, I'm going to eat it. This episode of Connected is brought to you by Incogni. Almost everyone experiences robocalls. I got one just a few minutes ago, hand on heart. And if you ever wondered how they keep getting your number, the answer is data brokers. And that's where Incogni comes in. They reach out to data brokers on your behalf, request that your personal data be removed, and then they deal with any objections from the other side. Personal privacy is important to me. I own a business, and that means some of my data is out there, but it doesn't mean I want my phone blowing up every couple of hours with a random phone call. With Incogni, you can protect your privacy in 3 easy steps. You create an account, grant them the right to contact data brokers on your behalf, and then kick back while they get to work. And you can stay up to date with their progress with a user-friendly dashboard that provides updates on the status of removal requests. Visit incogni.com/connected and secure your data today. Sign up and enjoy a 30-day money-back guarantee. Protect your privacy with Incogni and experience peace of mind knowing that your personal information is safe. Use the offer Connected at the link in the show notes and get 60% off an annual plan at Incogni, incogni.com/connected.
Well, I hope you boys like using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, because it sure seems like the Apple alternative is going to take a while for it to become available. We have a new report by Mark Gurman saying that due to recent internal struggles with getting the Siri overhaul, getting it together, it seems like it could get delayed. So we were expecting iOS 18.4 to have the teased and pre-announced Siri integration with apps and intents, with the ability to chain multiple requests to Siri in your favorite apps together, have Siri execute all of those actions seamlessly, as well as Siri being able to draw from your personal context, so to be able to infer and find information based on the things that you store in your apps, in your notes, in your task manager, in your photos, in your email, whatever. And also for Siri to be able to be more, to be aware of what's displayed on screen. Now, it seems like these features may or may not make 18.4. They, according to Gurman, Apple has been discussing lately the idea of maybe shipping them in iOS 18.4, turned off by default, or just postponing them to 18.5. I kind of want to get a vibe check from you guys. Are you disappointed? Do you care? Do you not care? Did you see this coming or not? What's the overall vibe check? Yes, that is also a vibe. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm disappointed for various reasons, I think. I think that this is an overall frustrating thing, right? These are the most interesting parts of Apple Intelligence. Were they ever real? Like, was this a thing that ever worked, or was it like a hope?
Was it a video animation?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this way, Mike. Do you think that by the time you'll be back on the show, we will have these features?
Not all of them, no.
Yeah, I agree.
I think at least one of these features gets just straight up moved to 19.
I wouldn't be shocked if so Apple announced this system based on intents and app schemas, like all these things that all these commands that apps can register, and Siri will be able to execute those domains. I wouldn't be shocked if like half of those domains get moved to 19.
Yep. Or like iOS 18 technically runs until September.
I mean,
right?
Technically, iOS
Technically.
18 could run forever.
That's
so
also true.
Apple has that system in software update where they show you both tracks, so you can choose.
Imagine if iOS 19's out, but there's still like 18.26, and it's like we finally do personal context.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it frustrating. I'm not surprised about it, while also being surprised, if that makes sense. It's like I am kind of on the face of it, it feels like that these features just don't work, and that like maybe when they showed them off, they weren't ready. That's how it feels on the face of it. That like under regular circumstances, the kind of thing they wouldn't do at WWDC, with some exceptions, right? But it is rare for them to show something and it just not to arrive, which it does feel like at least some of this stuff might not. One of the things Mark Gurman says is that like some of these things might get added but are off by default because they're not good enough. Maybe they're limited. Maybe personal context only works if you use Apple's apps or something. We actually don't even really know what the original plan for that was anyway, like how that system was going to work. It's a bit of, I do think that it is, I think it's concerning for sure, right? Like these features are important, whether you like them or not. I think it is important to have this kind of technology now. Can they?
I want to hear from you, Stephen, and then I have something I want to share about this topic.
I think that there's no greater evidence that Apple rushed into the Apple Intelligence announcement. I'm not surprised that it's delayed. I also think this is not new. We've talked about this before. Apple making this part of the Siri brand continues to feel like a mistake to me.
Yep.
And the last thing Apple needs to do is release something under the Siri brand that's bad, because Siri's reputation is pretty poor, I think, kind of out in the general world. And so I think they kind of got to get it right on day one. I think people are going to be already hesitant to try something. People don't trust Siri. They don't, I think it's why it's so interesting they put the new fancy gradient and UI in place when it's the same old Siri. Like that, I think was misleading is probably a strong word, but at the very least, like odd or strange. And so part of me is hopeful that Apple sees, okay, this isn't ready. We're going to wait till it is. But if they didn't start working on this until 18 months ago or something, like, I just don't know. I don't know when we're going to see it.
Okay.
My feelings are complicated, but the biggest one is like Siri's brand is bad. What does Apple do about that?
Yeah.
I have a waterfall of thoughts that I need to share on the show.
Please.
And I'm going to try my best not to lose them because it's a whole jumbled mess of thoughts that I need to share.
If you do lose any of them, don't chase it.
Don't go.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I think it's interesting that this report is coming out a couple of weeks after that other report about that new person that was put in charge of Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder.
Federico, perfect. Yeah.
Makes me wonder if maybe John Andrea is not that great at their job. Interesting timing. The other thing, I was listening to you and Jason on Upgrade, and you were raising this interesting point, like what's worse? What could have been worse? For Apple not to pre-announce anything at WWDC, or was their approach correct? And could have there been bigger damage if Apple hadn't shown anything last year.
Mhm.
And I get the argument, and I think there's something to it. But at the same time, the flip side of that is that with this timeline that we're in, Apple has basically accelerated, as fast-tracked, Apple Intelligence becoming the same running joke that Siri has been for the past few years. Like, you see the memes on a pretty regular basis on Blue Sky these days. So I'm not on Threads. I suppose you can also see them on Threads. I suppose you can also see them on X if you're still using X. But like the memes of Apple Intelligence summaries or the memes of Apple Intelligence image playgrounds, like it is becoming a running joke. And it's sort of, it's becoming the vibe that I'm getting from those posts is like most people who typically, those are people who are not attuned to tech news as much as we are. They're just regular people. They see Apple doing AI, sort of like the weird uncle who's now really into something modern. It's like, look at the big company now wants to do AI. They're not cool in that sense. And I was thinking and this, now we're getting into another thought. I was thinking about this lately. Like, why do people? I spend a lot of time. I'm not bragging, but I do spend a lot of time, unfortunately, on the internet. And
This is not bragging.
I do spend. I am very online, as they say.
Don't know about you guys, but I spend a lot of time.
I don't know about
online.
you, but I am
the
very
information superhighway.
I spend a lot of time on the line, and So here's the thing I see is that people who are sort of kind of into tech, they tend to be more forgiving toward this new generation of companies like the ChatGPT or Anthropic or DeepSeek or, God forbid, Perplexity or even Gemini to a lesser extent than they are toward Apple Intelligence.
Definitely.
And I was thinking, why is it? Like, is it a general dislike toward Apple? I'm sure, there's a component there. Apple, the premium company, they make you spend a fortune to buy a phone and then they give you something that is not working. But arguably, Google also makes you spend a fortune to buy a Pixel or a Pixel Fold. And I think I've landed on a personal theory that I wanted to share on the show. I think when it comes to AI, Apple eventually, they will probably need to understand that they will need a fundamentally different approach in communication, because all of these AI companies are very much open about what they're building, the flaws of their existing products, and how they want to make them better.
It's a new approach, isn't it, to technology?
You have never seen, especially with Tim Cook's Apple, you have never seen Apple publicly say, yeah, we know this is not great, but we're going to make it better. Apple never says it. Like, according to Apple, and this goes back to something that Jason shared weeks ago, and I continue to repeat, according to Apple, any product you mention is the best one, the greatest, the most versatile, the fastest. You will never hear Apple say, yeah, we know this is not great, but we just want to release it and then we'll build it up from here. That is the approach that all these other companies have. And I think in the AI space, if Apple wants to be taken seriously and wants to be taken in a more forgiving manner, they will need a different approach. I may be wrong. We'll see when and if eventually these features ship. We'll see if and when a Siri large language model ship. I am dying to see how Apple is gonna treat a large language model compared to Google or OpenAI or Anthropic or Meta. Like, is it just gonna be like a closed app where you cannot pick a model, where it's not open source, where Apple doesn't share anything about are they really gonna do the Apple version of a large language model? I am dying to see what they're gonna do.
The one thing that they could do, which would, but I imagine they would do, which has its own benefits maybe, like if they actually do get their own LLM together. Like we were talking about the fact a few weeks ago, like choosing LLMs is quite a weird thing and a complicated thing.
Sure.
Like, because you're saying, like, the names of them aren't great, right? Like, why would I use 4.0 Mini? Like, is that good? Like, should I do that? You know what? And so, like, not choosing would be nice, right? That's the thing that I would like. And, I would hope. Here's the thing. If I believed Apple had their stuff together in this, which I don't as of right now because they've not proven it, if I was to believe that they had their stuff together, I would believe that's what they would prioritize, right? That they would have like a bunch of different models for different tasks, but you as the user never need to request, right? At least that would be their attempt at building the product. But like that would also require them to have genuinely shown that they have any kind of capability right now, and their capability is slim, right? Like, well, Apple's LLM capability is what? A little bit of text, right?
Well,
rewriting tools. That's their LLM capability.
Not even,
right now.
Sort of, maybe that, and
only a little, right? Because anything complicated, they send it off to OpenAI.
And the notifications.
Notifications.
That's going great.
The notifications, definitely.
And the images and the literally the only part you can salvage of the images is the Genmoji, because they were trained on a pretty good data set, which is the Apple emoji that have a good design. So that's not a huge surprise. But yeah, just I kept having this thought of like, everybody seems to be, and I'm not saying that people are not complaining about Gemini or people are not complaining about ChatGPT, but because those companies are so outspoken, they have created this sense of like community and openness in regarding communication that Apple doesn't have. And I wonder if that style becomes sort of the default approach communication wise. You can literally go on X and send a reply to the person working on Google Gemini, and they're going to reply to you. Like, if that style of communication with the public and with developers, right? Because there's also a strong developer story here. And if that style becomes the norm, I wonder if whether you're a customer or you're a developer, how do you engage with Apple Intelligence when these other companies give you a fundamentally different experience and treatment if you're a developer? Be curious to see, for sure.
I will just, if you allow me, I might as well make a disclosure. Google Gemini is a sponsor of this week's episode. That is not in any way, I can feel very confident in saying it, not in any way shape Federico's opinions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just thank you, sponsor, but I don't care.
Yes, I know, which I love about you. It's going to be very interesting to see over the next couple of weeks how this unfolds, because realistically, 18.4 should be available in beta now, and it's not, right? So like, it is very clear something's going on, right? Because there's no current beta version of the operating system available right now. I think that your theory that it is Kim Vorath, which is that the VP who's been brought in, I think that is a very good theory of like someone has come in and they're like, show me this. Oh, that doesn't work. We're not shipping that.
Yeah.
I think that could be like an interesting theory for why, or it could just be that like it just doesn't work and they were never going to ship it because it doesn't work. But no matter what is going on, it doesn't seem like it's a good thing. And again, right, to go back to what you were saying, Apple have a way to prove it. They could talk about it, but they don't do that. But maybe that's not the era we're in anymore. Like, Apple do not own or control this era of technology, right? The previous era of technology of personal computers and smartphones, they owned and controlled it. So they could set the tone and everybody followed their tone. They do not own and control this era for whatever it is, for however long it's going to be, for however successful or not. They're clearly following, right? Because they don't 100%. Have the stuff together.
Yes.
And they are... Their way of doing things is not the way that things are being done. And it'll be interesting to see if they just decide to not bother with that, or if they change their approach, or if they change their approach in a different way. That like maybe they're just like, hey, we give up. And we'll just build some really good APIs for people to build on top of and integrate with.
Well, that brings us to the end of Mike's last episode for a little while.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Is that all you have to say before you go? Before you go.
I like it. I don't know what to say really. So I'm going to be gone for a long time, probably like 2 months. Federico thinks it'll be longer. We'll see how it's going to go.
Slightly longer than that. Yeah.
Paternity leave. If you've somehow missed that, right? You're not just like going on a
sabbatical.
Yeah. Who would do that?
Can you imagine the person that starts listening to Connected with this episode and goes from a Sixtini to somehow one of the hosts leaving?
I mean, they've had a ride, you know?
Yeah.
They've had a real ride. They've got what is, I think, a very classic episode of the show.
We've had some laughs.
We've had some big megapickles. We've had some big thoughts. We've had some mispronunciations. You know, we had a game. This has been a real classic. And then I guess a new classic part is one of the hosts leaves. So this is the new thing. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I'm going to be gone for a while. I'm going to be focusing on my daughter when she is born, which is probably going to be quite soon. And I won't be around much is the intention. I thought today that I will delete all social media from my phone. That was a thought that I had today. And that's a good idea. So I'll do that.
Do it.
That'd be my intention. And yeah, and I will be, I don't know when I'll be back exactly, but it's like my plan is in late April. And I would like to extend my thanks right now to you both for being so gracious and so encouraging in letting me take this time, because it is quite a long time. And also to everybody else who is making it possible for me to do this, because there are a lot of people who have to step up if I'm going to be gone. I would like to thank the listeners for also allowing it, and like everyone's been really cool about it. I hope that you enjoy the time without me,
but not too much.
We will.
But not too much. Yeah.
No, Steven, you're supposed to say that we will.
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Say it, Steven.
We will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had the thought today, and I don't know about this, but I just want to put it out there. Like, I know when you record, like, quizzes can happen at any time. Like,
you just pop into the Zoom.
Don't ever get comfortable.
No, you're supposed to be gone. You're gonna stay gone.
I'm just telling you. I agree with that, but just don't get comfortable. You know, at any point.
Wow.
No, I feel like I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But also, I might. But yeah. So.
By the way, you will be back. I need to consult with the universe some more. But you will be back either on May 7th or May the 14th on the show.
That's a long. I don't need that amount of time.
Look, it's you decided to have a baby, not me.
I don't know how long. I don't know how much time I need. All of it is just a number picked out of the air. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited about this time. I'm very ready for it to begin. You know, we said this already. This is a long journey for my wife and I to get to this point, and we're very thankful that we're here. I'm very thankful that I have the kind of job where I can do this. I'm very thankful that people are supportive, and I hope that you'll miss me a little bit. And when I come back, I hope you'll be happy.
Well, we will miss you, Mike.
Thank you,
but not too much. You know,
but not too much. That's good though.
You gotta always keep people on their toes. Like,
so if you miss me too much, then it'll be hard for you to do the show. And I don't.
We don't want to be clingy. You know,
or like crying every episode.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. Yeah.
Looking out the window while you record, and the rain goes down the window.
No one can see me crying in the rain.
I wonder if they're talking about pickles today.
I am going to listen, by the way.
Okay.
I said that earlier, but I will be listening. I'm going to be listening to the show. I look forward to listening.
Is that a threat?
It's more just like a thing to remember.
Okay.
Oh,
you know?
So it's a threat. Okay.
And I here's Federico, you made your prediction, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my own prediction, but I need to log into something to do it because I know what you're gonna do. I know what Steven's gonna do. Probably next week he's gonna put the Tiny Head T-shirt back on sale. All right, like I'm not stupid.
No,
I know what's going on here.
We haven't
All right.
we haven't talked about this at all.
You don't have to have spoken about it. He's going to do it. Right? I can tell you that's going to happen already. So I'm logging in right now to see how many we sold last time because I'm going to make a prediction about how many we'll sell. All right, we sold 206 last time. I say we sell no more than 150 of those T-shirts. I'm putting that out there into the world. And this is the thing. If I'm wrong, great. You know?
Mm-hmm.
We'll find
That's all I
out.
have.
Don't
I'm
look
sure
at
we
the
will.
other things in that account. That
I mean, I just saw something. I logged in and I was like, what's that? Incredible.
Spoilers. Jeez. Okay.
Jeez.
Turns out.
Wow.
Jeez. Okay.
Well, you had to ruin it at the last second. That's the last thing you wanted to say. Okay.
Mike, why don't you do the closing?
I love it. What a treat. Okay, so if you, as a listener like me, would like to leave feedback for the hosts of this show, you can go to connectedfeedback.com. And that is where you can leave feedback. I'll be leaving feedback, so I'll be in the feedback along with you over the next couple of months. If you would like to join the show, become a member, support the show, support my growing family, go to getconnectedpro.com. Oh, that's not how I usually say it. Getconnectedpro.co. That's the good URL. Both work, so you can choose. If you think to yourself, I'd like to buy Mike and Adina a gift for their baby, just become a member. You get something, and we also get something, which is your money, which is nice. On the Pro Show today, we spoke about Steven's really big cable. If you want to know what that is, become a member and find out.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to find Federico online, please go to macstories.net, where he is both the editor and the chief, and the editor and chief-in-chief. Editor and chief. Is that what that is?
Yeah, they call me Chief, in fact.
It says here, Federico, editor and chief.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Editor
Chief-
and-
No, that's
Chief Federico.
that's a typo from Steven, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm not the editor and chief.
I'll fix it.
There's a lot of very precarious things in the closing area.
Yeah,
here.
that's why no one can be
Interesting.
trusted except me.
Well, because you write them wrong. Is it like, do you do this so like if other people say it, they seem silly?
It did it on purpose. I saw the cursor removing the in
He wanted to
before
make
you
me look like
started.
a fool, didn't
Yeah,
he? He's like,
yeah.
oh, why didn't you go read the closing
Yeah.
links? I'm like, oh, go to 546pixels.net to find Steven.
That's
Now,
not.
Steven is also but you're just making me look silly. 512 Pixels. He is the editor and chief of that website. He was also the co-host of Mac Power Users here on Relay. We're all on social media. You can find me if you want to. If you're like, I want to see when the baby's born, Instagram will be the spot. I'll put a picture up on Instagram of our beautiful baby when the beautiful baby is born.
Live streaming the thing.
Nope, not doing that. Absolutely not doing that. But thanks.
That's a good way to get banned from
Hey
Twitch.
guys. Hey guys. Thanks for
Hey, fam.
tuning in. Oh, what up, gang? You join me live.
Hey, chat. What do we think of this baby?
Can I get ones in chat if baby's cute? Get an F in the chat for my marriage.
Spoken like a true content creator. Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
People asked me if I was going to live stream my wedding.
Oh, gross.
That was a thing.
It's
that people asked me.
It's a great birth.
Oh my god.
I can't wait to birth it. All right, thanks everyone. This has been Connected. I'll be back later. These guys will be back next week. It's a pleasure. I love you. Goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Oh man.